potential does Maddie Lynn to make it to the promised land of the Super League. So Maddie Lynn puts whistle to lips. We're up and away here. Sheffield with first use of the ball. The prize to the winner this afternoon couldn't be more of an incentive. Who will move 80 minutes away from an appearance at Wembley? That is the prize. That is the burning question on a sizzling spring Sunday of knockout rugby league at Odsal. Bradford hosting Sheffield. It is an 1895 Cup blockbuster, and it's Sheffield Eagles immediately moving the ball down this right-hand edge here with one of their former players, Evan Hodgson. As we mentioned, 10 former Bradford players in this Eagles lineup this afternoon, and they're on tackle 5, the last 5 inside the Bradford half. Morgan Smith has missed the last 3 with that injury. Goes downtown to Hooley, the Castleford Tigers loanee, on what is his 4th appearance in the red, amber and black. He will take tackle 1, 15 out from his own try line as Bradford immediately move the ball wide over on that far stand side here with the Fijian international Wonga Blake, and he's rolled over around about 25 shy of halfway. Out of dummy half here from Joe Keys. It's going to be Jaden Okinbaugh on tackle number 3, and he's almost up to halfway here is Jaden Okinbaugh, the former Canterbury Bulldog, Hull FC man, as James Donaldson goes through a gap down the middle. Good play there from James Donaldson. Bradford 10 inside the Sheffield half. Suda out of dummy half, straight down the middle here with Pelle. Pelle runs a little bit of an angled line on this left-hand edge. And Bradford on their first set of 6. They're on the last tackle inside the Sheffield 20. Crossfield kick here, looking towards Okinbaugh, but one of those former Bradford players, Marek Dawson-Jones, puts his body on the line. And when you speak to Matty Dawson-Jones, he always speaks highly of Bradford, how they stood by him after that season-ending injury in his first year here in 2022. So if you're just joining us on West Yorkshire Radio, West Yorkshire Rugby League, also rugbyleague.com, and those watching on the stream on Bulls TV, brought to you by First Bradford. It is 0-0 here, and we've had 3 minutes gone on the clock, and Sheffield now are 5 metres shy of the halfway line. Out of dummy half from Butterworth, one of those homegrown Bradford players who left for pastures new, as Oliver Roberts, the former Huddersfield and Salford man, gets to his feet on the 5th and last. 10 inside the Bradford half. Corey Aston skews the kick. Hooley alert to the danger. He will take it 20 out from the Bradford line. Bradford back in possession here. A good, clean, fast start from both sides. 0-0 on the scoreboard. 4 minutes gone as we see James Meadows taking the line on, but he has not made too much metres forward because Evan Hodgson and Titus Quasi have come in with a big crunch and munch. Matty G, an 1895 Cup finalist and winner with Halifax in 2023. He would love to get there with Bradford in 25. Lawrence up to halfway, plays the ball. 2 left on this set as it goes from Suter to Donaldson. Donaldson, second phase play, keeps the ball going to Keys. Keys tries to go past Oliver Robertson Broadbent, but he's wrapped up. That's the 5th and last here for Brian Noble and the Bulls. They're 10 inside the Sheffield half of the field, back to halfway. The kick will come in, comes down towards Ryan Miller, the former Bradford witness man. He's wrapped up there by Gill and Armitage. Smith goes in there and acts in half, and it's almost like that game's found its rhythm very, very early here. No errors, no penalties, no set restarts. Both sides really up for this one. As we said, the prize to the winner couldn't be of more of an incentive to move 80 minutes away from a trip to Wembley in June. Out of dummy half here now, they will kick early with Corey Aston on tackle 4. Bounce of the ball is kind for the former Toulouse man, Guy Armitage. And Armitage, a risky ball there, very nearly picked off by Sheffield. There's oohs and ahs from the Bradford supporters here as Meadows tries to calm things down in there at acting half, and he will see his pass move lateral towards the main stand side here, which is I don't blame the supporters. There's very few people sat at the back in the shade. They're all down at the front enjoying the 18-degree weather here at a sun-kissed Odsal. Fulton plays the ball on halfway for Bradford. Out of dummy half from Suter. to the Kiwi Pelle. And Franklin Pelle held in the tackle there, nothing forthcoming. Dickinson and Guaze just moving when young referee Matty Lynn said move. And now it's going to be Donaldson who's lost the ball forward. And that's the first error of the afternoon. James Donaldson, he was under pressure there from that Sheffield defence. He clearly got the call from Suter. And unfortunately for James Donaldson and the Bradford Bulls, the first error of the afternoon goes against them. It will be scrum head and feed to Sheffield, 30 metres out from their own try line. And as we said last week, Bradford just 8 errors, which is still probably a couple too much for Brian Noble's liking, but certainly it was 4 less than the 12 errors they made in that Friday night game here against Barrow Raiders, which Bradford lost by 18 points to 8. So from the scrum, the Eagles just going on that left-hand side here. A lot of experience in this Sheffield side. You look to players like Miller, Wellham, Dawson-Jones, Tyler Dickinson. As we see Morgan Smith now find Ashton. Wellham. 3 tries for the season. The former Bradford Hull KR man plays the ball 30 out from the Bradford line. It's going to be Smith to Guaze. Flat ball there towards Dickinson, and Tyler Dickinson is wrapped up on tackle number 4. And Sheffield, they find themselves 25 out centre field from the Bradford line here, and now Guaze finds Smith to Hodgson. Last tackle for the Eagles. They're 15 out just to the right-hand side of the post, so it is going to be some kick-chase pressure, you feel, although they're going to try and run it on the power play as it goes along the line to Walker, and they're in at the corner here with Manny Dawson-Jones, and the former Bradford man, he will get try number 5 of the season as Sheffield Eagles, we were talking about that kick-chase pressure, they went for the power play, they decided to run and pass, and that was great effective play there from the Sheffield Eagles on that last tackle. They've took advantage of Bradford's inability there to shift across. Nothing that Jaden Okinball, Luke Cooley and Wonga Blake could do, and it is the Eagles, the men from the Steel City, that have opened the scoring here at Barnacard Odsall with 8 minutes gone on the clock here, and that was Matty Dawson-Jones doing what Matty Dawson-Jones does best. You give him half an inch, the 34-year-old, all that experience to go in at the corner. So they were looking for, certainly, there was a bit of hesitancy there from the Bradford defence, expecting the kick, and this big crowd inside Odsall stunned and shocked into silence here. Well, we're turning the kick predictor on for the first time this afternoon. Corey Aston last week was 2 from 2 against Oldham. He's 26 from 32 for the season, so just 6 misses, and that's reflected on the kick predictor saying 74%. It's right on the extremity on that left-hand touchline. Referee Matty Lynn's just stopped the clock here because Corey Aston has taken the full 60 seconds, and Corey Aston will pilot that one between the posts from the touchline. Well, we mentioned goal kicking could be crucial, could be important here this afternoon. And Corey Aston, he goes to 27 from 33. And Craig Lingard will be absolutely delighted with this start here this afternoon from the Eagles, because they've done exactly what they wanted to do. Roll the sleeves up, dig deep, trouble the scoreboard early, which then in turn puts a little bit of pressure on the Bradford Bulls. So West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, syndicated coverage on the stream with Bulls TV. Bradford Bulls 0, Sheffield Eagles 6. Just shy of 10 minutes gone here at Barnacard Odsall. Sheffield on the restart now, just outside their own 20-metre line. And you can kind of see how important errors and penalties and discipline are going to be here, because that error from James Donaldson, albeit inside the Sheffield 10, has basically seen Sheffield have field position from that error. Sheffield have come up with an error now in centre field, but it did touch the arm of Michael Lawrence first hand, so it will be a repeat set to the Eagles. As we said, they won the 1895 Cup in their first season, in the inaugural season of 2019, that 36-18 win against Widnes. They did lose their second 1895 Cup appearance to Wakefield last year, and that's what Craig Lingard said pre-match about the opportunity to right some of those wrongs. So 6-0 the Eagles lead. They're on halfway here with Broadbent. Now it's going to be Aston to Walker. And Walker's brought down 10 inside the Bradford half of the field. Well, if Bradford didn't realise they're going to have to dig deep and roll the sleeves up themselves, they're certainly going to find out now here. Because the big forwards of Broadbent, Dickinson, Roberts, and that creativity there from the spine of Walker, putting Bradford under pressure. The 20 metres out here on the last. Butterworth out of dummy half, kicks into the in-goal area, recovers possession. Referee Manny Lynn says knock on by Reese Butterworth, and that will be a relieving exchange there in possession as the former Bradford man, Reese Butterworth there, the 26-year-old, just went herring straight out of dummy half here and kicked the ball forward. And I think it come off Joe Keyes' leg, but in his efforts to regather, he couldn't regain possession. So Bradford now will come from deep, and they're 12 metres out from their own try line on tackle number 1 here. With Jaden Ockenbaugh, Suter in at dummy half to Lawrence. Meadows wrapped up there. Look at the line speed here from the Eagles in their very, very snazzy pink and light blue shorts away shirts. It's certainly an eye-catching number here this afternoon as Lawrence is brought down tackle 2. Suter now to Meadows to Gill. Gill tries to cut through. And look at Kieran Gill. He's made 25 metres here, but he's heading towards touch. And that is great defence there from Ryan Miller, Chris Wellham and Morgan Smith. His first game back in 3, Morgan Smith, the former Wakefield Hull FC half. He was the third man there, assisting Wellham and Miller. And Kieran Gill, he thought he would show Wellham and Miller the outside. Unfortunately for Bradford, it's a second error, and they've put themselves under a little bit of pressure here. We've had 13 gone on the clock. It will be a full set of 6 inside the Bradford half for the Eagles. Guaze will play the ball. No scrums, remember, when it's over the touchline. And that will be Tyler Dickinson, tackle number 1. And now it's a set restart to Sheffield because Maddie Lynn says there's been hands in at the ruck, which has delayed the play of the ball. So it's certainly not been the strongest of starts by Bradford. A second try or second scoring points for Sheffield here really does put a bit of pressure on Bradford right at the start of this game. Morgan Smith drops the shoulder, caught on the shoulder there by Pelle. Good defence. Lawrence, second man. They're the A and B markers. Sheffield purring. 10 to the left-hand side of the post. They come down the middle here with Broadbent, and Broadbent's lost the ball on contact with Matty G. Hooley recovers on the 0 tackle. So all of a sudden, 2 errors apiece here, and now it will be the first penalty of the afternoon. It will go the way of the Bradford Bulls because Sheffield were just holding Hooley down in the tackle. And look at that kick from Luke Hooley. It's gone 60 metres, and Bradford now 20 out from the Sheffield line. Kieran Gill is adjudged to have not tapped the ball in the correct position. Well, we mentioned Mary Lane, former Newcastle Thunder Academy player. Certainly was at the club when Eamon O'Carroll was there. And now it's going to be Keyes to Pelle. Oh, Dickinson and Broadbent go straight for the legs and drop the big Kiwi forward, the big powerhouse. Here goes Donaldson. Now to Meadows into the in-goal area. Kieran Gill can't get there. Jack Walker has been caught high here. And that silly play from Kieran Gill. Meadows has kicked early behind the Sheffield line. Walker's been tackled dead in goal. But because the tackle has gone above the shoulder blades, Jack Walker, he will see the penalty go the way of Sheffield. And Bradford can't really complain whatsoever about that one there. It was an early kick on tackle 3. The game's just getting a little bit scrappy here. Referee Manilin's going to stop the clock. I think he's just going to have a word here with Tyler Dickinson and Matty G. A little bit of silliness there between two of the more experienced championship players of recent years. So just a little bit of a telling off there. And it still remains Bradford 0, Sheffield 6 here at Bardercard Hudsall. 1895 Cup quarter-final action. 15 gone on the clock. The game has just flown by here. Bradford not really settling into their rhythm as yet, as Sheffield come down the middle here with Broadbent. Made his debut for the Eagles against Lee back in 2018 as Morgan Smith finds Guaze. Guaze is inside the 20. Donaldson, good defensive contribution from him in defence. They're on the fifth and last here. Morgan Smith along the line to Aston, to Wellham. Wellham's lost the ball forward, and it will be Guy Armitage who dives on that loose ball, and Bradford do keep their line intact. And now Sheffield trying to force Bradford back over the dead ball line, or the try line, sorry, into the in-goal area here. It's a very, very sloppy, scrappy play the ball, as Mitch Souter now is finally brought down there on tackle number 3 on his own 10-metre line. This is where you want those edges, Ockenbaugh, Blake, to help the forwards. It's a hot, energy-sapping afternoon. They're on tackle 4 here, and they're going to kick early. Such is the pressure from the Eagles. But that kick from Meadows has gone straight down the throat here of Jack Walker. The very, very lively 25-year-old, a grand final winner with Leeds back in 2017 when he was just 17 years of age. But that's better defence there from Bradford. Well, if you are joining us, it is West Yorkshire Radio. This one pulsating here as we see Butterworth up and over halfway. Gives the ball now to Smith. Smith's passed the ball behind him to Guaze. And Titus Guaze wrestled to the floor there by Wonga Blake, who has just raced over from the far stand touchline to wrap up the Zimbabwean international. So Bradford showing a bit of mongrel there and a bit of fight in defence. 16 gone on this one, 6-0 to the Eagles as Dickinson down to Smith, to Hodgson, and Evan Hodgson wrapped up on the last. So 25 away from the prize, 25 inside the Bradford half. They go short side with Smith. Smith kicks over the top. Hooley perfectly allows perfectly judges the bounce of the ball there. Well, there's more messing around there at the play the ball. Chris Wellham, the 38-year-old, will be penalised by the official, Matty Lynn there. A lot of messing around at the play of the ball. You get that from Craig Lingard's size. And if it works, why wouldn't you use it? Good to talk to Craig Lingard on his return to the championship earlier on this year. Really looking forward to changing the fortunes of the Eagles post Mark Aston. Keys, Meadows to Fulton. Fulton now back on the inside to Meadows to Souter. Souter's brought down, 25 out in front of the post. Donaldson is the defence back the 10. Sheffield struggling to get back as the boot's a ball, but there's too much on that one from Meadows. Missed communication there. The crowd showing their frustration. Meadows holds his hand up. It will be a 6-tackle set, though, for the Eagles. Well, last week we saw that positive review of the Featherstone game, positives for the players. Certainly Brian and Lee Greenwood highlighting on what worked well against Featherstone Rovers this week. And as we mentioned pre-match, Brian Noble pleased that he saw his side deliver such a strong performance. Well, they're in a real arm wrestle here as we head towards the 20th minute and the end of the first quarter. It's still that try from Manny Dawson-Jones after the error from James Donaldson, with Sheffield moving the ball on the power play on the fifth and last. Great play there from the Eagles to expose the Bulls, but that's crunching tackle there from Michael Lawrence on Titus Guaze. They're on tackle 4, 1 to go. Eagles looking very potent over on that left-hand side as there's some great defence to bring down Alex Foster. He'll get to his feet. He'll play the ball. It is the last tackle. The 10 away in front of the post. Morgan Smith, crossfield kick, puts Guy Armitage under pressure. Guy Armitage takes that one from the clear blue sky and is finally wrapped up there by Guaze and Wellham. So it remains Bradford Bulls 0, Sheffield Eagles 6 as Kieran Gill's wrapped up there on tackle number 2. We've had 19 minutes gone here. Kieran Gill just plays the ball. There's no one behind it, but Suter does get there in the end. It's a little bit scrappy from both sides now. Here goes Jaden Okimbaugh. One of those 9 tries last week. 3 for the season. 9 last year. Bradford kicking early on tackle 4. Hewlett splits Miller and Walker. Jack Walker takes it from his own 10 to the 20. Puts a big big fen there. And he's finally wrapped up there by James Meadows on his own 30-metre line. 20 shy of halfway, tackle 1. A good platform for the Eagles to start. Well, we'll keep you up to date with the latest scores elsewhere. Oldham hosting Barrow, Featherstone hosting London, and York against Widnes. It is the 1895 Cup quarter-finals, and we can tell you it's 6 points apiece at Post Office Road. Featherstone against London, Oldham leading Barrow, and it's York 10, Widnes 0, as we now see Tyler Dickinson go down the middle, but it's a penalty in front of the post because a Sheffield player has been taken out off the ball, according to the North East official, Manny Lynn, who will stop the clock here. Craig Lingard wants the 2 points. Sheffield are about to go 2 scores in front, you feel. So York leading Widnes 10-0, Oldham leading Barrow 10-0. And Manny Lynn is going to stop the clock here, and he will take a little bit of a report as he speaks to Wonga Blake about his actions in taking out the Sheffield man. Wonga Blake saying it was a wrap, but it was late. So it is a penalty right in front of the Bradford post to the Sheffield Eagles. Just when Tyler Dickinson had taken the pass from Corey Aston and he was heading down towards the posts. Franklin Pelle leaves the field. So already Brian Noble freshening things up. Ireland international Ronan Michael comes on the field. And Manny Lynn here will stop the clock. And he wants a word here with Luke Cooley and Michael Lawrence about something that has happened on that play. Well, Luke Cooley's going for 10 minutes in the sin bin here. They're going to say the tackle, the challenge from Luke Cooley, not the one from Wonga Blake. So 2 penalties apiece. Bradford, they have their 5th player of the year in the sin bin. And that is Luke Cooley, the Castleford Tigers loanee. And no surprise or shock horror that Craig Lingard sends the kicking tee on here for Corey Aston. And it's almost set in stone, you feel here, that Corey Aston is going to give Sheffield a double score lead here as we just enter the second quarter of this game. 20 metres out. A prolific marksman, Corey Aston. As we said, 27 from 33. Just 6 misses all year. This to go 2 from 2, which he does. Bradford Bulls 0. Sheffield Eagles 8. 22 minutes gone here on West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, and syndicated coverage with Bulls TV. Well, Sheffield carving the Bulls up there down the middle, which caused that sort of chaotic, desperate defensive response. But Bradford now, that numerical disadvantage for the next 10 minutes with Luke Cooley in the sin bin. So 18 to go to half-time. We've just seen Ronan Michael come on for Franklin Pelle. And Sheffield on the restart now, a 20 out from their own try line. Corey Aston out a dummy half to Jack Walker, who beats 1, beats 2. Wrapped up there by the 2 Australasians, Fulton and Suter. And he'll play the ball 5 shy of halfway. Morgan Smith to Guaze. They're playing a very, very simple game plan of Sheffield Eagles, and that's frustrating Bradford. 8-0. Bradford don't need to panic just yet, and I'm sure that's the message coming on from Lee Greenwood and Brian Noble. Sheffield have made it to the last tackle after that Ashton penalty. And they're going to run it from Guaze before Aston will put boot to ball on the last. He will target Meadows. Meadows wrapped up 2 metres out from his own try line. Bradford have not had too many opportunities down at the Sheffield Eagles end of the field, and the 3 that they have had, there has been those missed time kicks into the in-goal area. 2 went dead. One of them did force Walker over the dead ball line, but it was a high tackle from Kieran Gill. Bradford just need to set their stall out here. Not allow any perceived frustrations to get the better of them as Sheffield's defence forces Keys to kick early. And now it's an invitation for Jack Walker to meet that red, amber and black, white-shirted Bradford defence on his own 30-metre line. James Donaldson has just left the field and Sam Hallis will come on. So that is Bradford's second interchange of this game. They're on halfway, the Eagles. Chris Wellham, he's brought down 5 inside the Bradford half. He won the Championship Shield with the Bradford Bulls back in 2016 when Bradford beat the Eagles here in the final at Odsal. Sheffield 25 away from the Bradford line with 2 tackles left on this set. Butterworth to Smith, now to Aston. Aston to Foster, forward pass. Corey Aston's pass to Alex Foster. One of those 10 former Bradford men ruled forward, a 4th error from the Eagles. That will allow Bradford to just calm things down. There's not been too much stoppages in this game, but as we said, Sheffield, they've got a strong history with the 1895 Cup, and Brian Noble reiterated that rich experience of approaching and appearing in those 2 1895 Cup finals, that it does give the Sheffield players, some of those long-standing Sheffield players, a little bit of an advantage. Well, despite those well-documented injuries to Matty Marsh, James Glover, Eddie Barrett, Lewis Peachy, Joel Farrell, Sheffield have certainly arrived here and have given Bradford a far sterner, tougher test than they experienced last week against Featherstone. So, from that forward pass, they're up to halfway with Haller, Suter to Michael, 30 away from the Sheffield line centre field. Bradford desperately looking for some points here, but they're well poised now as it goes from Meadows to Blake. Blake, though, heading towards touch, but Oliver Roberts there just tails away at the right moment. Otherwise, it would have been a penalty. Last tackle here. It's going to be Keys. Crossfield kick. Looking for Armitage. Looking for Gill. Finds Armitage, but he left himself not a lot of room, not a lot of tarmac there from Guy Armitage as he was pushed over the touchline by Chris Wellham. And it remains here, Bradford Bulls 0, Sheffield Eagles 8 at Barricade Odsal. And it's going to be a real tough defensive set here now that Brian Noble and Lee Greenwood will be asking to put the pressure here on the Sheffield Eagles as they now come down the middle with Massimo Tongo, who's just come on the field. It's Sheffield 8, Bradford 0, Rhys Butterworth up to the 20. The war cry going around Barricade Odsal as we now see the Eagles move the ball on this right-hand side now with Guaze. He's felled by 2 good defenders there in Hallis and Michael. Butterworth down the middle here. Big, strong carry there from Jack Mallinson. They're on the last tackle. Another quick play of the ball from the Eagles. This time they're on the last. Morgan Smith gets the kick away under pressure, and there's a little bit of reverb on that bounce. Bradford have let it bounce. Someone pick the ball up, you hear Brian Noble say. And in the end, after that hesitancy from Blake and Ockenbaugh, it's Jaden Ockenbaugh who recovers possession for Bradford. Jordan Lilley's just come on for Mitch Suter. We've got 14 minutes to go to half-time here. 14 minutes for Bradford to try and show a response to that Matty Dawson-Jones try and that penalty from Corey Aston. Michael Lawrence now 15 metres down the middle. Good defence, though, from Titus Guaze. Massimo Tongo, Rhys Butterworth also involved in that one. crowd cheering for the introduction of Lilley. It's going to be Keys now to Fulton. Fulton takes takes three defenders there with him. Also a shout out to Ellie joining us this afternoon from Krakow in Poland. Ron and Michael down the middle. Well, that run there has just given Bradford a set restart. So now the tackle count back to 2 on this play with Manny G, and Bradford 5 away from the line. But no sooner have Bradford just been given the set restart, their first of the afternoon. There's a forward pass from Joe Keys to Manny G. It's gone forward. It's a 4th error in this first half from the Bradford Bulls, and not for the first time this afternoon. Bradford given an opportunity after some ill-discipline from the Eagles. They had the set restart. Unfortunately, they have not been able to capitalise. So whilst last weekend we were praising the Bradford spine of Meadows, Keys, Lilley, Hooley and Suter in that impressive performance against Featherstone, certainly we're not seeing those levels of fluency and execution at this stage in this game. So 12 minutes to go to half-time here. I think Bradford might just be hoping that it ends up 8-0 and Brian Noble is it the hairdryer treatment. Certainly been very, very calm, Brian, after those poor performances against Toulouse and Barrow, always believing in his side. As Sheffield are up to their own 30-metre line after that forward pass from Joe Keys. Now it's going to be Guaze to Aston to Roberts. Roberts over on that left-hand side, brought down there by Ockimbaugh, Fulton and Keys. They're on halfway here, the Eagles. 10 inside from touch as they move it lateral down the middle. Here goes Tyler Dickinson, great servant of the Sheffield club. Doesn't miss many, the player of the year in 21, 22 and 23. Morgan Smith gets the kick away on the last under pressure from Lilley. Once again, Bradford a little bit of hesitancy letting the ball bounce. It's always high risk. This time, the bounce of the ball favours Bradford as Guy Armitage will take tackle 1. Bradford now moving the ball over on the right-hand edge with Fulton. Fulton lassoed to the floor there by Oliver Roberts, the former Bradford man. Come back down that same side with Blake. Blake's on tackle number 3 here, and he's a couple of metres shy of halfway before he's rolled over. Lilley's in there and acting half, goes short and direct and finds the running legs there of Hallis. The two Siddle amateur community players linking with each other. Another set restart given here because Hallis was being held in the tackle. Can Bradford capitalise and breach the Sheffield line? It's going to be Lilley inside the 20. It's a little bit headless chicken stuff at times from Bradford, but Fulton gives them a very good attacking platform. They're 5 metres out underneath the Sheffield post. There's an error out, a dummy half from Jordan Lilley, and that is criminal from the Bulls as the Eagles hair away and race clear. Jack Walker tries to do it all himself. He's finally brought down there by Jaden Ockimbaugh. Bradford are still down to 12 men, remember, and from that Jordan Lilley error on their own try line, Bradford have now forced Jack Walker into an error at the play of the ball. Well, it's all happening here at Barnacard Hudsall. Jack Walker absolutely protesting to the young match official Manny Lane that it should have been a penalty. Well, if it was a penalty, Jaden Ockimbaugh, he's joining Luke Cooley in the sin bin. So both sides all of a sudden are at 5 errors apiece. It's far from pretty for both Brian Noble and Craig Lingard, but I think Craig Lingard will be absolutely delighted that he's smarting from getting Bradford frustrated and dragging them down the hole. Craig Lingard certainly knows how that to play against the Bradford Bulls, with Batley winning here on a number of occasions in recent seasons. Bradford not clicking in attack at all, it must be said. Although they are up and over halfway here after that Walker error. And it's Lilley down the middle now to Ronan Michael. Michael's wrapped up, 20 away from the Sheffield line. More shoving and pushing around at the play of the ball as Joe Keys misses out Nathan Mason, takes the line on himself. They're on the last tackle, Bradford. Keys gets to his feet, he'll play the ball. It'll be up to Meadows, a crossfield kick. But it's gone straight into the arms there of Alex Foster, Jack Walker was also probing on the edges, but it is the former Castleford man, the former Newcastle Thunder centre, Alex Foster, who was Johnny on the spot there to deal with that one. And this big crowd inside Odsall, just, you can hear it. It's audible. Very, very frustrated with what they're seeing thus far. Sheffield 8, Bradford 0. Lilley back on the field, so the damage limitation was just the extra 2 points from the boot of Corey Aston. And Sheffield now on halfway on that fifth and last tackle. Butterworth out of dummy half. Finds Smith. Smith is happy to drill it down the tram line. And that will be a crucial 6-tackle set coming up here for the Bradford Bulls as Luke Hooley just slips on the dusty stock car shale here. That will just allow for a controlled restart on the 20. 7 to go on the clock. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV. 0 tackle taken in by Ockenbaugh. Bradford, 5 players who've played in all 10 competitive games so far this season. Blake, Meadows, Lilley, Fulton and Michael. And they're on halfway with one of those. Zach Fulton playing the ball. Now, centre field. Keys, Meadows, G. Was he dumped above the horizontal by Wellham? No, say the officials. G gets up a little bit gingerly there. 5 inside the Eagles half. Lilley misses out Mason. Finds Hallis. Hallis wrapped up there. Free, hungry, desperate. Eagles shirts defending as Bradford enter the 20 with Keys. Keys looks to keep the play going. Finds Meadows. Meadows now to G. G back down the middle on the inside to Hooley. And that's tackle 4. There's 1 to go on this set. Bradford have gone nearly 100 metres here as Keys takes the line on, drops the shoulder. Wrapped up there by Wellham and Walker. Desperate defence here from the Sheffield Eagles. Last tackle, it'll be G to Lilley. Lilley into the in-goal area. Walker caught high on the kick chase pressure. Well, I'm just looking at the body language here of some of the Bradford players and that togetherness that we saw last week. Well, we've got to say it as we see it. There's the effort there, but there's a heck of a lot of disjointedness as Bradford, after having that extra tackle and doing all the hard work of getting to the Sheffield end of the field, those are absolute coach killers for Lee Greenwood and Brian Noble, because that's now the second time in this game that kick taste pressure, which should have seen a goal line dropout, has actually resulted in a Sheffield penalty, which then kind of exasperates things further by shifting that momentum and ascendancy even further to the Sheffield side, because Bradford not having the set of 6 repeat set, they're not able to continue that momentum and pressure. And as we said, we've got 4 minutes to go to half time, and I think Brian Noble, he might just be opening that war chest at half time for those war of words with his side. Gwazi up to halfway here now, and Sheffield, well, they're looking the stronger of the two sides at this stage, and they lead by 8 points to 0. Matty Dawson's try after 8 minutes. On the 20th minute, Corey Aston converted the penalty after Luke Hooley had been penalised for taking out Corey Aston, and now Gwazi is wrapped up. 10 inside the Bradford half, 4 Bradford defenders. There we treat. Lovely weather here at Bardacard Odsall in the sunshine. They're going to move it on that left-hand side here now with Masi Matongo, and that will be the 5th and last tackle. Referee Maddie Lynn, left arm in the air. They're going to go short side door with Aston. Aston drills the ball into touch, and that is a tap on the 20. So Bradford will have one last chance, you feel. 4 to go to half-time. Well, there's going to be quite a bit of an inquiry, I think, at half-time here as we dissect what we've seen. But certainly that spine not being as efficient, as and effective as it was last week. So 0 tackle, Jaden Ockenbaugh. I guess Brian Noble and Lee Greenwood and the Bradford players, they will look to refocus at half-time. It is still only 8-0 in favour of the South Yorkshire side, who have appeared in 2 previous 1895 Cup finals. Lilley out of dummy half now to Michael, but it's an easy read there as Meadows is wrapped up there by Wellham. Bradford, 2 tackles left on this set. Lilley out of dummy half to Hallis. Hallis battering ram, makes some metres forward. 5 inside the Sheffield half. Tackle 4. Lilley now towards Keys, towards Meadows, to Hooley. And Hooley's wrapped up now just outside that 20-metre line. It'll go from Fulton towards Mason. Nathan Mason, he's 10 away. And they are just to the right-hand side of the post. They're on the last tackle once again. Lilley to Keys, out wide to Ockimbo, but Ockimbo will be denied. He was heading towards touch. He's palmed the ball behind him. If there's a Bradford white-shirted player there, they've picked the ball and they're over the line. Unfortunately for the Bradford Bulls, Oliver Roberts, one of those 10 former players, has been a thorn in the Bradford side here. He was the player, Johnny on the spot, to take that ball. And we've got 2 to go to half-time at Barricade Odsel. And it remains Bradford 0, Sheffield 8. Oh, my word. Well, not many fancied the Eagles going into this game here. And they're certainly proving a very, very bold point. Last tackle, they're on their own 30-metre line, centre field. Mason and Michael in defence. Once again, Butterworth to Morgan Smith. Couldn't find touch there, Morgan Smith. So with 60 seconds to go, there's exactly 60 seconds to go. Guy Armitage carries Bradford up to halfway. So this will be the last set of this first half. Will it end in some points to the Bulls as Armitage gives the ball towards Blake. Blake's brought down over on that right-hand edge. 25 away. Back in centre field here now with Keys to Michael, the former Huddersfield and York man. There's just seconds left. 33 seconds says the clock as Lilley finds Keys. Down the middle on the inside is Hallis. The 5 away from the line. Bradford keeping it very, very smart. Very, very direct. Will this see Bradford get points? They will! Nathan Mason, with 10 seconds to go to half-time, will cross and breach the Eagles' try line for his first try of 2025. And the former Huddersfield Giant, he has given Bradford a lifeline. Well, Nathan Mason, the 30-year-old former Huddersfield Oldham Lee man, he plays on the edge. He complements that ferocious Bradford pack size. And with just 10 seconds to go, the hoot has already gone in the background amongst the noise. Bradford have just given themselves the biggest ever pick-me-up heading into the half-time break. It's a try right at the side of the post. I don't think Nathan Mason would have had time to play the ball if he was held short. It's right on the buzzer. A 40-minute try and a chance for Bradford to go in just trailing by 2. Kick predictor here for Luke Hooley. It's at 100%. Hooley converts. And at half-time here at Barricade Odsel, we said the prize couldn't be any more of an incentive. Whoever wins this will move to within 80 minutes away from a Wembley appearance. And at half-time, it's Bradford Bulls 6, Sheffield Eagles 8. Nathan Mason with Bradford's 40th try of the season. Chairman said to me, when they're all over in October, that is when you will see those meetings intensify. Well, it's just gone 4 o'clock here at Barricade Odsel on Sunday, the 6th of April. 40 minutes to go. 40 minutes to identify who is going to be going into the semi-final draw, which will take place next Sunday. So let's have some fun here on West Yorkshire Radio. Syndicated coverage, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV. And it will be Bradford with first use of the ball right at the start of this second half. And I'm sure Brian Noble said at half-time, he wants to see a little bit more connectability, a little bit more cohesion, and the side working well together as Zach Fulton has just made 20 metres on the restart right at the start of this second half, as Wonga Blake nearly takes a swinging arm from Oliver Roberts, but it misses. And then Blake, in his haste to get a quick play the ball up, has come up with an error on tackle number 2 right at the start of this second half. So that's a 6th error for the Bradford Bulls. And just to reiterate the team news, same 17 as last week. So Hooley, Ockenbaugh, Blake, Gill, Armitage, Meadows and Keys the halves, Lawrence Suter, Pelle, Fulton G, Donaldson, bench of Lilley, Hallis, Michael and Mason. Sheffield arriving here, missing Matty Marsh, James Glover, Eddie Barrett, Corey Johnson, Joel Farrell and Lewis Peachy. 6 players missing. They've had to go to Warrington for Joe Bayer and Sam Marshall. So Sheffield Eagles with the first scoring opportunity right at the start of this second half here on West Yorkshire Radio. 25 away from the line here. They lead by 8 points to 6. They come back down the middle channel here with Joe Bayer, the Warrington Wolves loanee. He gets to his feet. Butterworth out a dummy half to Aston. Aston to Massimo. The 2 big Zimbabweans out there on the field. Matongo and Gwaze. And look at that from Ronan Michael. And Nathan Mason pushing Massimo back past the 20. So they've lost about 10 metres there, Batley, as they, Sheffield, as they move the ball over on the right-hand side. They're on the last tackle now. 15 away from the Bradford line, back in centre field to Morgan Smith. Crossfield kick, out on the full. First error of the second half from the Eagles. So, 6 errors apiece here. Bradford 6, Sheffield 8. We've got Pelle, Patty Pelle joining us from South Auckland in New Zealand. So certainly a lot of people. And as always, thank you for the kind words. Quite a few people saying they're enjoying the commentary and the call as always. Here goes Kieran Gill. Caught high. That has been spotted by the match officials. And it's Evan Hodgson who's gone high there on Kieran Gill. And that now will give the Bradford Bulls a chance to head towards the Sheffield 20-metre line. Well, a lot of people, when you speak to people in rugby league circles ahead of this one, didn't expect this one to go the distance this afternoon. We might be, who knows? Ronan Michael, tackle 1. 15 away from the Sheffield line. Keys to Hallis, and Hallis goes down the middle, looking for the strike. And he's brought down underneath the Sheffield post right at the start of the second half. Lilley to Keys. Keys drops the shoulder, tries to pirouette past Hodgson and Gwaze. As we now see Nathan Mason get a double. And Nathan Mason, he's done it again. With seconds to go at the end of the first half. He's done it with 90 seconds gone at the start of the second half. It is a double effort from Nathan Mason, and it's a try right at the side of the post. Bradford take the lead for the first time this afternoon. Bradford 10, Sheffield Eagles 8. We're in the 42nd minute, and that again, Bradford very, very effective when they simplify the game plan. Simplify the game plan. Nothing too fancy. Very, very calm, composed and measured. Set a 6 there from the Bulls. Hallis, Fulton. Commendable metres through the heart and soul of the Sheffield defensive line. Well, we're saving the batteries on the kick predictor. Luke Hooley from in front. I'm sure if we turned it on, it'd say 100%. But this to give Bradford a 4-point lead here right at the start of the second half, which Luke Cooley does. Bradford Bulls 12, Sheffield Eagles 8. Nathan Mason, he is getting all the plaudits here. His 2 tries could just be taking Bradford to an 1895 semi-final showdown. It looks like York might be there. They lead Widnes 22-6. The other two, Featherstone 10, London 6, and Barrow leading Oldham 14-10. They're a little less predictable. So West Yorkshire Radio, Bulls TV, rugbyleague.com, back underway here on the restart. Jaden Hockenball's brought down 15 outside his own line, 5 in from touch. You could see what Oliver Roberts was trying to do there with Alex Foster, trying to roll Hockenball over the dead ball line, but he had put the handbrake in. Well, Zach Fulton, once again, another big carry, big effort from him. Wonga Blake's on halfway, tackle free. You just feel and sense that Bradford just could be about to cut loose here in the sunshine right at the start of the second half. Michael plays the ball, Lilley to Keys. Another strong carry here from Fulton, who's inside the Sheffield 20. And on the last tackle, Bradford have gone 85 metres on the restart after points as Lilley takes the line on. Fred's one through. Lilley chases. And Jordan Lilley, he's the magic man, the magic cat. He's the maestro, the magician. It is unbelievable stuff from Jordan Lilley. On the last tackle, from 10 metres out, Jordan Lilley has looked up. There's nobody at home underneath the Sheffield post. Perfectly weighted. Jordan Lilley chases his kick up and he beats Jack Walker and pounces. A moment of magic from Jordan Lilley. That has just turned this game and swung it firmly in favour of the Bradford Bulls. You feel Nathan Mason, 2 tries, Jordan Lilley getting Bradford's third. And it is right after Nathan Mason had scored at the start of this second half. And that has got this large crowd inside Odsall absolutely rocking here. Well, it's certainly the weather for a partisan atmosphere. Well, Jordan Lilley doesn't score many. Second try of the season. As we mentioned last week, he's had that unfamiliar scenario of being on the interchange bench where he played in every game last season, all 33 in the halves. Last week, certainly his strongest contribution of the year. Kick predictor 100% here for Luke Hooley, yet to miss. And this one goes dead set central and splits the post. Bradford Bulls 18, Sheffield Eagles 8. 4.5 minutes gone at the start of this second half. Jordan Lilley, that experience, that energy, that enthusiasm. Well, as we mentioned, he is... Well, we mentioned this at half-time. Jordan, I'm not sure whether the players get the half-time gibberish, but certainly Jordan Lilley, an important, integral cog in this Bradford Bulls machine. And we're back underway here right at the start of this second half. If you are just joining us and you've come back from having a half-time cuppa, Bradford have gone back-to-back with Nathan Mason scoring his second and Jordan Lilley his second of the season. Bradford's third. They lead by 10. Here goes Nathan Mason down the middle. Tackle free coming up, and they're already up to halfway here. Well, we mentioned a couple of moments ago, Bradford just feel like they might be about to cut loose, although that's better from Sheffield, stopping Hallis straight in his tracks there, is Hudson and also Gwazi, but they're on tackle 4. They're 10 inside the Sheffield half of the field. Here goes Wonga Blake. Bradford playing with a spring in the step and some newfound confidence after a very, very difficult opening 40 minutes here, which Sheffield led 8-6 at the interval. Keys on the last, kicks towards Dawson Jones. Dawson Jones takes that 5 out from his own try line. Good kick chase pressure there. Fulton and Lilley chasing up that kick. And here's Foster, who did join the Bradford Bulls, you might remember, back in 2016. Did play in one of the pre-season games, but then unfortunately we all know what happened, and Alex Foster, he went to join Castleford along with Jake Truman and Cameron Scott. Less said about that episode, the better. Here goes Tyler Dickinson down the middle, but Sheffield still inside their own 20-metre line. Much, much better here. a very good connected display at the start of this second half as Kieran Gill tries to force Chris Wellham and barrel him over the far stand touchline. Penalty to Sheffield. Silly stuff there from Bradford. They'd got Sheffield up to tackle 4, and unfortunately for James Meadows, he's adjudged to have stolen the ball. So a chance now for Sheffield. Penalty count 4-3 in favour of the Eagles here. Just to reiterate, we will know the semi-finals, the semi-finalists, but the draw will not take place till next Sunday evening. And we will be covering that draw next Sunday evening after the Huddersfield Catalans game. So here we go. Bradford having the bye week next week. Spoke to a couple of players this week. Some are off to Ireland. Some are certainly looking forward to a bit of sightseeing in Dublin, I do believe. Sheffield trying to get back in this game here. The 30 away from the Bradford line with Titus Guaze, finds Aston. Aston to Walker, to Foster. Foster, good defence there from Blake and Ockingbourne. Lilley comes in as that third man. They're on tackle 4 here, they're Eagles. We've had 8 gone at the start of this second half. Here goes Corey Aston down the middle. This will be the 5th and last. They're in front of the Bradford post. Centre field, Butterworth in there and acting half. Walker shifts across to the right. Aston goes towards the right. And here's Walker involved in that play. But Jack Walker, it was a plan set move there. Bradford's defence, they were alert to the danger. And you could just see there, Hallis, Lilley, they were watching where Walker was going. And Hooley was very well connected. He could see that line of communication and that there wasn't going to be a kick on that play. And that was a very, very good defensive read there from the Bradford Bulls. Bradford back in possession, 5 away from their own try line, but they do lead by 18 points to 8. We'll confirm our coverage next weekend, but it is looking at this stage where it'll be Huddersfield Catalans next Sunday and Saturday, a bit of a afternoon treat for you if you want to join us. Sheffield against Toulouse, 3 o'clock. Here goes Ron and Michael down the middle. And this is not what Sheffield would have wanted. You replace one big bulldozer with another. And here's Franklin Pelle, who's lifted above the horizontal. Dangerous stuff here from Titus Guaze and Blake Broadbent. And Blake Broadbent just been spoken to by Maddie Lynn about the tackling technique. He was lifted above the horizontal and dumped there. Very, very dangerous stuff from the Sheffield stalwart. Over 120 appearances for Blake Broadbent. It will even the penalty count at 4 penalties apiece. And a dangerous tip there on Franklin Pelle, who's just been reintroduced, says the young match official Maddie Lynn. So, Bradford a full set, 20 out from the Eagles line. It has all been the Bradford Bulls in this opening 11 minutes of this second half. And there's more shoving and pushing around as Tyler Dickinson and Sam Hallis come together. And Maddie Lynn has got a big job on his hands. Refereed his first championship game last season on Good Friday. A fierce Cumbrian derby between Whitehaven and Barrow, and now he's got to sort out this West against South Yorkshire as the clock is stopped and the players have come rushing together. Clearly, there's a lot of emotion out there on the field, and Maddie Lynn there just separating the two sides. Penalty awarded to Bradford because Tyler Dickinson, he was using the elbow on the floor in the tackle. So I think with this one being right in front of the post, Brian Noble might just want to send that goal-kicking tee on. It is cup football. The value of a penalty in knockout rugby league is worth a hell of a lot more than in a normal game. Well, Maddie Lynn there just talking to both touch judges here on this main stand side. It's a penalty to Bradford. And I think there's going to be players sitting down here. So Sam Hallis will certainly be the Bradford player going in the bench. So we are going to see a yellow card apiece here. It will be Sheffield who will be spoken to first. Titus Guaze being called out by the young match official. Well, judging by Marilyn's hand actions, we are going to see Sheffield down to 12. And now Sam Hallis will also be joining in the bin. Well, probably can do without the music. It's just heightening things out there on the field. But with 12 minutes gone in this second half, both sides are down to 12. It's a penalty to Bradford right in front of the post. Evan Hodgson and Sam Hallis, two good friends off the field, and they just have a little bit of a talk down below the tunnel here. Marilyn just speaking to Jordan Lilley and Titus Quasi, the two captains, or Lilley the vice-captain with Michael Lawrence off the field. Penalty in front of the post. Luke Hooley's already got the kicking tee out there and lining this one up. So it's been an eventful start to this second half. We're in the 53rd minute here, and we've had the sin bin in the first half to Luke Hooley. We've now seen Hallis and Hodgson sin bins, the two former Stanley community players who, as I said, off the field, are very good friends. So, this another opportunity for Hooley to cement his authority on the Bradford Bulls goal kicking. It's right in front of the post, 12 metres out with the angle, just a little bit to the left. And this should calm things down. Game has been stopped for a couple of minutes now. So Luke Hooley does go out to 4 from 4. Both sides down to 12 men. Hallis, Hodgson in the sin bin. Bradford extend their lead. 20 points to the Bradford Bulls. The Sheffield Eagles have 8. 25 minutes to go here at Barnacard Hudsall. 25 minutes to go in this compelling 1895 Cup quarter-final. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV, and Bradford have let the ball go dead in goal here. Jaden Ockimbaugh has just had a little bit of a brainstorm, and rather than safety first, he went for the lazy option of trying to trap the ball with a boot, and that one has gone dead in goal. First goal line dropout of the afternoon, and now Sheffield will come straight back at the Bradford Bulls. This one is not over by any imagination at 20 points to 8. Bradford, you have to suspect, will just look to defend this set of 6 here. 12 against 12. Tyler Dickinson tackle 1. Quick play the ball. Butterworth out of dummy half into Michael. Finds the support of Broadbent down that left edge, and he straightens up down the middle. Tackle 2. The 12 metres out underneath the post here, the Eagles, as Ashton to Walker, and Dawson-Jones crosses in at the corner. It is a second try to the former Bradford man, Matty Dawson-Jones, who now has 6 tries for the season. And this game has come alive once again. The gap is down to 8. It's 20 points to 12. And anything Bradford can do in the clinical execution stakes, so can the Eagles. Well, the second half, it is now raining points and cards. We've had Hooley, Hallis, Hodgson in the bin, and that space just opened up there for Sheffield. And it's an immediate response after Bradford had got that penalty from Luke Hooley. So 3 tries to 2. Pressure coming up here, right on this main stand touchline from Corey Aston. Right on this main stand touchline. Just 6 misses all season. the son of former Sheffield head coach Mark. The kick predictor, 31%, right on this main stand touchline. He was 2 from 2 last week against Oldham. He's 2 from 2 at this stage. And as we head towards the hour mark here at Barricade Hudsall, this could be absolutely crucial. There's no respect the kicker in rugby league. This big partisan Bradford crowd trying their best to put off Corey Aston. But Corey Aston will just slice that one in that left-hand upright. It is a crucial extra 2 points. And it's Bradford 20, Sheffield 14. We might just be going the distance this afternoon on West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, and syndicated coverage on Bulls TV, as always. We'll keep the strapline firmly in the case, but it might be getting opened up. We've got 23 minutes to go here in the sunshine. Who wants a place in the semi-final draw next Sunday? Answers on a postcard, please. We've got people joining us this afternoon in Thailand, India, Krakow, in Poland, and also people not too far from here in that lovely little sunny village of Clayton. So on the restart, Sheffield now just outside their own 20-metre line. Wonga Blake and Joe Keys bringing down Joe Bayer, one of those Warrington Wolves loanees, helping Craig Lingard and the Eagles out with the injury adversity as Titus Guaze is lifted there and dumped by Franklin Pelle and Jordan Lilley. Out of dummy half, they're going to go with Rhys Butterworth, who kicks, looking for a 40-20. Hooley will get to the ball first, and Hooley did well because it was Wellham and Miller who were putting Hooley under pressure there. And now here goes Armitage. Tackle 2. Ooh, very conservative dump to the floor there. Ockenbaugh up and over halfway, looking to make amends. Nearly found Hooley on that outside support. Keeps hold of possession. Lilley out of dummy half to Michael. Is it early to talk about 1 point? Lilley got 6 last season, including 1 against Swinton in the quarter-final win here at this stage last season. Meadows now wrapped up to the right-hand side of the post. They're on the last tackle. Keys is calling for it. 5 in from touch, 10 away from the line. Crossfield kick, looking for Blake. Ockenbaugh's got it. It's Blake to Ockenbaugh. Matty Lynn checks, clears the onside, clears that the ball went backwards. He points the finger, and just like that, on the power play, as we head towards the final quarter, the Bradford Bulls have try number 4 of the afternoon. Well, that was pinpoint accuracy on that kick. It just found Blake, who had done just enough to put off Dawson Jones and Foster. And that could be the moment. It's a big game moment here as we just hit the hour mark. You're talking millimetres for Ockenbaugh to just squeeze in at the corner there. He had Walker, Foster, Dawson Jones all around him, and he somehow just saw the highlighted little piece of grass in the corner where he knew he had to place the ball. That is how close, how tight that was. Well, he now goes on to try number 4 of the season, Jayden Ockenbaugh, the former Canterbury Bulldog man, in what is his 8th appearance. Luke Hooley from this main stand touchline is skewed it. It's waved away by the officials. But with 19 minutes to go here, Hooley's first miss of the afternoon, Bradford 24, Sheffield 14. Elsewhere, it is looking like York and Featherstone will be in the draw because it's Featherstone 20, London 6. It's York 28, Widnes 6. And it's still too close to call between Barrow and Oldham. Barrow currently leading Oldham 24-20. Well, it's looking like Bradford, if they are to get the job done here in the next 18 minutes, as Franklin Pelle goes away and around. And look at this from Franklin Pelle. Pelle's going to create a try to Kieran Gill, and Kieran Gill is homing in on that 1895 Cup semi-final because the Bulls, from the restart, they've gone 100 metres, and it was Franklin Pelle, the beast, the human bulldozer. He was just swatting Sheffield Eagles players away for fun, and that's the moment you can say the Bradford Bulls will be in that semi-final draw. It was absolutely electric from Franklin Pelle. The run, the speed, the brutality to just say Chris Wellham, Ryan Miller, Jack Walker, get out of the way. Nobody could stop Big Frank. He's gone 60 metres and he's found the support on the inside of Kieran Gill. Well, when you watch that one back on the highlights reel, that will have you absolutely purring like a cat, licking your lips. And that's the moment. With 17 to go, Bradford, they now are in the semi-final draw. But oh boy, Sheffield have made Bradford work incredibly hard this afternoon. And a lot of credit goes to Craig Lingard and his injury-depleted side. Hooley will attempt the conversion attempt from in front to the post. Kick predictor's already at 100%. It was just the physicality. Nobody could stop Franklin Pelle there. He wanted it more than anyone. And Kieran Gill, try number 7 now of the season as Hooley converts. This one has just blown out. 2 tries in 2 minutes. First, Jaden Ockimbo, then Kieran Gill. Hooley converts. Bradford 30, Sheffield 14. There's 15 to go on the clock. 15 minutes to go. So Bradford at this stage look like they will be joining Featherstone and York in the draw next Sunday. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, syndicated coverage for those joining us on Bulls TV. And it will be Evan Hodgson and Sam Hallis coming out of the sin bin. So both sides are back to 12. Well, there has been a lot of comment about Odsal and its limitations, but is that something? Can we read something into it? Both sides at 12 and the tries start flowing. Here goes Lilley. Out of dummy half to Hooley. Hooley's away. Hooley breaks clear. He's got options left and right. Goes to Keys. Keys is going in. But Matty Lane, he was dead set in line with that one. He will rule it out as forward. Good decision there from the young North East official. Oh, if that's just a millimetre. Very, very difficult, but you can just see the ball come out of the hands. It doesn't go backwards, and whilst people might get the ruler out and talk about momentum rules, unfortunately, it was in a perfect spot there, the referee, Matty Lane. And that one is one that's got away from the Bulls. Well, that really would have put those candles on that semi-final cake. So, 14 to go, Sheffield still with a chance here. Look at Lilley here, herring away, straight into Tyler Dickinson, helped there by Fulton. Well, we learned from last week, the man of the match poll will go up at the end. It's no good doing a man of the match with an hour gone when Jordan Lilley and Kieran Gill performed like they did and made a huge statement in that sort of final quarter at Featherstone. For Sheffield giving a 6 again here. Bradford just hands in at the ruck when they really didn't need to. as we see former Bradford man Alex Foster beat one, beat two, runs lateral, finds a supporter Walker. Walker keeps the ball going to Hodgson. Oh my word, Guy Armitage on Evan Hodgson like a heat-seeking missile. He just picked him up and dumped him like a dump truck. Down the middle of the goal here with Blake Broadbent. He's away, herring towards the post. This one's not over yet. Bradford 30, Sheffield 14. They're 5 away from the line and they're given another set restart as Guaze finds Ashton to Foster. Bradford's defensive resilience being put under the pump, under the microscope here. They're backed up on the road try line, the Bulls. They've got 4 more tackles. It's a third straight set of 6 that the Eagles will have. They're going to try and take this game to the death. We've got 12 minutes to go. 12 minutes remain, and the gap is 16 at 30 to 14 as Corey Aston takes the line on, but he's not getting past Ronan Michael. He's not getting past Luke Hooley. He'll get the ball in under the nose of the Bradford try line. Butterworth. Guaze misses out Dickinson to Aston, along the line to Foster. Foster twisting, turning, looks for support. He's heading towards touch, Alex Foster, but he's just managed to apply the brakes. And Dawson Jones goes in there, 2 metres out behind the ball. That's how close the Eagles are. Bradford backed up right on their own try line. Messy pass from Dawson Jones to Aston to Guaze. Guaze to Broadbent. Broadbent wrapped up there by Hooley. They're on the last tackle now. The Eagles, the game's on the line, you feel here. There's 11 to go. They're down by 16. Aston into the in-goal area. Too much on that one from Corey Aston. The supporters cheering that one as they feel that extra tackle on this fresh set of 6 after defending 3 consecutive Sheffield raids on the Bradford line. Scoreboard remains unchanged, unmoved. Bradford 30, Sheffield 14. Well, we've got the music in the background here as we see Jaden Ockenbaugh have the ball stolen. Just shy of the halfway line. Bradford's 7th penalty of the afternoon. 7 penalties to 4. And Luke Hooley, another huge clearance of a punt kick down towards the touchline. And we're now going to have a chance for Bradford to put more pressure now on this Sheffield line as Michael Lawrence played big minutes last week. What a 25 Michael Lawrence is having. Here goes Joe Keys. Meadows. They're going to bust through with Matty G. Matty G. He will get on the try-scoring act. Try number 3 of the season for G. He was a try-scorer in the last round. And that 16-12 win against the Batley Bulldogs. Well, when we spoke to Matty G this week, he spoke about his pride, his passion, his achievements of winning the 1895 Cup with Halifax a couple of seasons ago. And now it's raining tries here at Odsal. We've got exactly 10 minutes to go. Another costly penalty, another spell of ill discipline from the Eagles. Ockenbaugh had the ball stolen. There were 3 Sheffield players in that move. And then we've just seen that sort of fluency, that potency, that clinical connectability, what Brian likes. We've just seen that Bradford spine, Hooley, Lilley, Keys, all linking. And to be fair, if Matty G didn't breach the line, it could have been Wonga Blake. Because they were queuing up to score. It's 15 metres or so in from the far stand side. Kit Predictor says 62%. James Donaldson about to come back on the field here for the final 10 minutes. So 34-14. Hooley keeps up his impressive goal scoring this afternoon. adds on the extra 2. And this one is blowing out now at Barnacard odds. So 10 to go. Bradford Bulls lead the Sheffield Eagles by 36 points to 14. Just the one miss from Luke Cooley this afternoon. He goes out to 6 from 7. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, syndicated coverage on Bulls TV. As we see Corey Aston back on the halfway line. He goes short. Hallis under pressure, bounce of the ball. We'll see the Eagles recover possession here with Blake Broadbent. So I don't think Sam Hallis will mind me saying he's not the tallest player on the field. And when you've got players who certainly have a good few inches advantage, he was certainly a little bit exposed. Sheffield, it almost feels it'll be a consolation score at this stage of the game. Although Massimo Tongo has caught Bradford's defence offside inside the 10. 7-5 the penalty count now. And it will be Reece Butterworth to tap. 5 metres out from the line. Tyler Dickinson. He'd love a try here at Odsall. The 28-year-old former Huddersfield battleman. Brought down there by Hallis and Hooley underneath the Bradford post. It's going to go towards Mallinson, and he's wrapped up there by Lawrence and Donaldson. Look at Lawrence. Look at that energy. Look at that effort. You can see it ooze off the shoulder blades of the Jamaican international. And who is that? Well, Tyler Dickinson's bombed a try over the line, and it's Michael Lawrence, I think. He's gone straight for the legs of Tyler Dickinson. You've got Franklin Pelle, Luke Cooley all around as well. That is Sheffield's 10th error of the afternoon. Bradford on 6 errors. And that just sums up this second half, you feel, for the Sheffield Eagles, where not much has gone right. Well, Bradford will have the scrum 10 metres out from the touchline. 10 metres away from their own line. And you've got to say, this Bradford spine of Meadows, Keys, Lilley, Hooley and Suter, certainly in this second half, has been working well together as Guy Armitage moves the ball on the far stand side to Hooley. It's rugby league poetry here with Meadows. Meadows to Keys. Keys finally wrapped up inside the Sheffield 20. Kieran Gill's gone down. He's limping in back play. Keys will play the ball to the right-hand side of the post, and they're heading towards where Kieran Gill should be. But Matty G, he will try and bulldoze and power his way past the Eagles line. He's held up 5 away. Back in centre field to Meadows. Just a bit of calmness to proceedings here from Bradford as Hallis fronts up and goes down the middle. So 2 tackles left here. Bradford just breaking on that far-stand side from the scrum, and they're breaking now on the right. Fulton not able to take the ball in. Fulton takes it in with that pass from Keys. He is past Butterworth and Matongo, and Bradford have 40. Bradford's 7th error of the afternoon, and we've just seen there a chance go begging, which might just allow Brian Noble a little bit of a review. Well, George Tafuat down there on the touchlines, on the crutches. He's back in around 3 months' time. Eben Sker could have played again, similar to last week. And this is a concern here. Kieran Gill is being led from the field here. So Kieran Gill, Bradford Bulls, leading try scorer for a number of seasons. He looks to be in a lot of pain, does Kieran Gill here, as he's being led from the field by the doctor and the physio. Well, if Kieran Gill has to leave the field and has to miss out, this would be a huge, huge blow. So Wonga Blake will come back on the field here for Kieran Gill. Bradford's final interchange of this 1895 Cup quarter-final. There's still 6.5 to go on the clock here. We'll give you a full rundown of the results at full time, but just a reminder, next Sunday it is Huddersfield against Carolans for us on West Yorkshire Radio. Big game. We'll also have coverage of the 1895 Cup semi-final draw. So Kieran Gill, he immediately sits down on the touchline and gets some medical treatment as we see Sheffield kick from the scrum up to halfway. Bradford recover possession. Well, Craig Lingard has certainly got a side in this performance, and they have a short turnaround before they face Toulouse and Sylvan Houley's side, who will be coming to South Yorkshire on Saturday afternoon. That's a game we are covering next Saturday, or should I say this coming Saturday. There's quite a lot of games coming up thick and fast, but the big one on the horizon, it's that blockbuster, that West Yorkshire derby between Halifax and Bradford on Good Friday. As Wonga Blake's lost the ball under pressure from Chris Wellham, picked up there by Titus Guaze. Guaze is felled and he's rolled into touch there. And referee Matty Lane says penalty to Sheffield. Oh, he's saying momentum stopped. And Titus Guaze was dragged over the touchline. Well, Matty Lynn won't be getting many birthday cards there from the Bulls faithful after that one, I feel, but not that it really matters. He's had a very, very good game, and certainly you feel those two sin binnings to Evan Hodgson and Sam Hallas helped calm things down, as Sheffield have come up with an error on halfway, but they're saying it's gone backwards. So Jack Walker stops, halts, and now, realising the whistle hasn't gone, we'll give the ball to Broadbent. 5 to go, exactly on the clock here. In terms of men of the match, you've got to say Nathan Mason probably in there for the two tries in quick succession. Jordan Lilley, for mine, probably nudges it with his contribution and energy since coming off the bench for Mitch Suter. There's been a lot of eye-catching performances, a lot of strength, and despite a largely flat first half, the second half has certainly more than made up for that one. Sheffield on the last tackle, 25 out from the Bradford line. Good defence there from Blake to wrap up Wellham. It'll be Aston, crossfield kick, targets Okinbo. Okinbo pushed back towards his own try line, over the dead ball line. Good kick chase pressure there from Mallinson and also Dawson Jones. It's a second goal line dropout that the Eagles have forced, and it is Bradford Bulls 36, Sheffield Eagles 14, as we just play down time here in this one. Well, we can tell you it's Featherstone Rovers 34, London Broncos 6, and Oldham have now hit their strides and straps in the second half against Barrow. They were trailing 24-20. They lead Barrow 38-24, and heading towards full time at the LNER. It is York 38, Widnes 6. So we can say with a bit of strength and conviction the semi-finalists will be Bradford, Featherstone, Oldham and York. Oh my word, those 1895 Cup semi-finals will be absolutely blockbusters. Sheffield not waving that white flag, certainly building now towards that big game on Saturday at Olympic Legacy Park, and they're 15 out underneath the Bradford post with Massimo Tongo playing the ball. Butterworth's in there and acting half, goes short to Smith. Smith now to Walker. Walker kicks towards the line. He's been taken out off the ball. It's a penalty to Sheffield in front of the post here. And all of a sudden, the penalty count now is 7 penalties apiece. So some light-hearted boos and jeers. Be interesting to see who Brian Noble wants, because there is going to be a delay with that draw being announced next Sunday after Huddersfield's game against Catalans. So here we go. 5 away from the Bradford line. 2 minutes to go on the clock here. What can Sheffield do? It'll be a consolation score, if anything, as Alex Foster tries to reach out and breach, and he's got there. Alex Foster, the former Castleford man, his never say die temperament there. He has taken Fulton, Hooley, Keys over the line with him, and Sheffield will end this game with a try in the bag. It goes to 36 points to 18. As we said, there's 2 minutes to go on the clock. It won't affect things too much, but the 31-year-old Alex Foster, as we said, he joined Bradford from London at the end of 2016. never made his competitive debut for the club because of the financial situation at the time. Well, it will come down to Jack Mallinson here to close out this game with seconds left on the clock. This will be the final act, you feel. Alex Foster with the try. This to just narrow the gap further still. The gap's down to 18. Mallinson will see that one catch the wind and go between the posts. It's Bradford Bulls 36, Sheffield Eagles 20. And with seconds left on the clock, 2 to be precise, Bradford will be in the semi-final draw next Sunday evening. Well, there's certainly a lot of food to fork for Brian Noble and Lee Greenwood in terms of this performance. Not been perfect by any imagination, but certainly what a strong response at the start of this second half. Those back-to-back scores from Mason and Lilley, and then Ockenbaugh and Gill. Well, they've got the restart underway, and Chris Wellham, as the hooter sounds, he's come up with the error. Full time here at Barnacard Odsall. Bradford in the draw, in the hat, in the bag for the 1895 Cup semi-final after a 36 points to 20 victory over Sheffield here. They are 80 minutes away from a first trip to Wembley since 1997.